Hey guys, happy Friday. I wanted to throw my hat in the ring and share some thoughts on weapons because I think this one's going to be talked about by a lot of people, and honestly, it deserves it. So, Zach Cregger is an inspiration. You could just feel the creativity and passion pouring out of him on the page, on the screen, and every wild turn his stories take. A new voice in horror is always exciting, and while Cregger might not be an overnight success, this moment feels earned. About 20 years ago, Cregger was part of the sketch comedy group The Whitest Kids You Know, led by the late, great Trevor Moore. If you were a millennial with cable in the late 2000s, you probably stumbled across them. I'll never forget randomly flipping over the fuse at a friend's house back in 2007 and catching the Space Potatoes sketch. We were dying laughing, instantly hooked. Followed them all the way from Fuse to IFC. That offbeat, chaotic humor was right up my alley. A bunch of their sketches are still on YouTube today, and honestly, a lot of them hit harder than ever. They even get reposted with new titles to match the week's headlines, which somehow always works. If you never checked them out, do it. They're timeless. Anyway, in 2009, when Trevor Moore and Zach Cregger dropped their first studio film, Miss March, I was pumped. But, yeah. Critics torched it, audiences mostly ignored it, and it got one of those legendary low Rotten Tomatoes scores. From what I've heard, it sounds like it was a troubled production, like they came in late to a pre-existing script and tried to rewrite it in something more of their own, but it didn't quite work. Around the same time, Mystery Team dropped, and that was a lower budget indie film from the Derek Comedy Crew, starring an early career Donald Glover. That one was a better critical hit, and looking back, it kind of captured a moment. I'll admit though, I didn't hate Miss March. There were moments of brilliance in there, little flashes of their weird, wonderful voice. I should probably revisit it now with fresh eyes, especially knowing what both of them have gone on to do. So, during lockdown, the Wise Kids reunited over live streams, reminiscing on old sketches, and it felt like catching up with old friends. But then sadly, in August 2021, Trevor Moore tragically passed away. It was devastating. For fans, it was heartbreaking, but I can't even imagine what his closest friends and collaborators were feeling. And that's where Weapons started. Gregor has said in interviews that the core idea of the film, kids disappearing in the middle of the night, was directly inspired by the sudden loss of Trevor. But here's the thing, Weapons isn't one of those trauma core, elevated horror misery rides. It's so much more. It's original, it's genuinely scary, it's funny, and it's wild. I'm going to back up a bit. Back in the fall of 2022, which was a weird time at the box office, Top Gun had dominated summer, but nothing else was really catching on in the zeitgeist. But then came Barbarian. I saw it opening night with a packed house, and it was electric. None of us knew what we were getting into, and the whole crowd was locked in, laughing, screaming, whispering, "What the fuck is going on?" That was a moment where it was clear. Cregger had arrived as a filmmaker. Sure, it wasn't technically his debut, but it was definitely the start of something. It makes total sense that Jordan Peele was interested in Weapons. Both guys came from sketch comedy, both made unexpected genre-bending horror films. Peele even reportedly fired his managers after they failed to land Weapons for his company. That's how hot this script was. Comedy and horror are two of the hardest genres to master. They live and die on audience reaction. You have to feel the room, know exactly when to deliver, when to hold back, and when to twist a knife. And Cregger just gets it. So what did I think of Weapons? No hyperbole here. I loved it. It's easily one of my favorite films of the year, maybe the best of the summer. It's a wild, funny, terrifying ride through the mind of someone deeply unwell, but told with so much style and confidence. The structure is really smart. It shifts perspectives in ways that keep you locked in, always jumping right when the tension hits its peak. Every time it transitions, it's like the movie dares you not to lean in closer. You can feel the audience inching forward, needing to know what comes next. Even knowing where it's going, I'm excited to watch it again. It's one of those movies where you could really see the dominoes come into play before they're all toppled down. And it also helps that it's just wildly entertaining. Scenes are engaging, there's great characters, it's just a fun hang. And let me tell you, the third act is bonkers in the best possible way. I've avoided spoilers here because if you could stomach horror, I think you should go in as blind as possible. It's scary, yes, but it's also cathartic and fun. There's a real sense of release by the end. I hope this thing makes a ton of money and reminds studios why original screenplays are worth betting on. All in all, I think it's been a great summer for movies. Between Weapons, 28 Years Later, Superman, The Naked Gun, F1, and also smaller A24 affairs such as Eddington, Materialists, and Friendship. I'm calling it. Movies are back. Anyway, that's my take. If you've seen Weapons, let me know what you thought in the comments. And if you haven't yet, go with the crowd if you can. It's a wild ride.